A classified memo just leaked from inside the Justice Department has top officials scrambling and agents whispering in the hallways. Something unprecedented is happening within the walls of the FBI. A transformation so dramatic that career bureaucrats are updating their resumes and clearing out their desks. And why did the Attorney General suddenly launch a task force investigating the previous administration's targeting of a specific religious group? What terror suspect was allowed to roam free for 3 years under Biden's watch? And why are Senators Johnson and Grassley demanding immediate answers about phones secretly obtained by former White House officials? Well, right now, we will reveal the purge that is only just beginning. The clock is ticking. And of course, we are all waiting for the arrests. And we have the details. Now, did you know there's a cutting-edge 2024 study that reveals that nearly half of all adults in the United States have high blood pressure? According to the CDC, only about 1 in 4 adults have their blood pressure under control, putting millions of people like you and me, at risk of heart disease and stroke. But there is good news. Taking control of your heart health doesn't have to be complicated. That's why I started using this incredible product designed to help manage blood pressure, cholesterol, and weight. It's a triple action formula packed by clinically proven all-natural ingredients. Visit boostwithgary.com, link below, and get up to 40% off. The deep state purge has officially begun. Trump's team finally dismantling the corrupt FBI machine that targeted Christians, ignored real terrorists, and protected political elites. Patel and Bondi are in place, but it's happening. Is it happening fast enough? The clock is ticking. Let's dig in. FBI Director Patel working every day, quote, working every day with our brave agents and staff to get the worst violent criminals off our streets. He promises lawlessness will not be tolerant.
To address you over video. Good evening, friends. It's Kash Patel from Washington, D.C. And I know the IWF annual gala is such a special event, and I'm so sorry to miss it. While I wish I could be with you in person this evening, it's an absolute honor to address you over video and take the chance to thank you for this amazing award. As many of you know, from over the years, I've attended the Independent Women's Gala in the past and enjoyed getting to know many of you during that time. So to be a recipient of this award tonight is a really special moment for me, for which I will be eternally grateful. Over the years, I've been proud to be on the front lines with you in the public service sector as a congressional staffer, investigating and exposing the weaponization of government, standing up for the rights of the accused as a public defender, and for championing a justice system that respects the rule of law for all Americans and constitutional due process. But I am also grateful that as I continue my work today, I have a partner in the Independent Women. As a director of the FBI, I'm working every day with our brave agents and staff and law enforcement partners around the country to get the worst violent criminals off our streets, to root out public corruption and make sure our country is safer. The American people deserve and have earned to know that lawlessness will not be tolerated and that criminal gang members and human traffickers and drug dealers will not be allowed in our communities. We will crush them. And under this administration, these criminals will not be allowed to prosper. My work at the FBI is a part of this administration's effort to refocus our government on its core mission of serving the American people. We are eliminating the waste, fraud, and abuse of power that has become too commonplace in our bureaucracies and returning that power back to where it belongs, to the American people pursuant to the Constitution. I know that this is also part of Independent Women's mission. These women, you, fight for these values every single day. We share a vision of a freer, more prosperous, and healthier society where the government serves its people faithfully while freeing you to create thriving communities. Independent Women is a leader in this important, critical fight, and I'm honored by both your friendship and partnership. I hope to meet y'all in person in the near future. Thank you again for this tremendous honor, and thank you to all Independent Women for your incredible impact on our country. A special shout out to my dear friend and the crew at IWF, Carrie Lucas. Thank you so much for this invitation and for...
The Anti-Christian Bias Task Force has been launched. AG Bondi confirming the Biden DOJ abused and targeted Christians. Check this out.
Task Force. Thank you all for joining us today. We're excited to be here for the launch of the task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias as outlined in the President's executive order. Joining me today are members of the task force and individuals who have been impacted by the anti-Christian bias. Together, this task force will identify any unlawful anti-Christian policies, practices, or conduct across the government, seek input from the faith-based organizations and state governments to end anti-Christian bias, find and fix deficiencies in existing and regulatory practices that might contribute to the anti-Christian bias. As President Trump has stated, the Biden administration engaged in an egregious pattern of targeting peaceful Christians while ignoring violent anti-Christian offenses. The president is right. Biden's Department of Justice abused and targeted Christians. Pro-life Christians were arrested and imprisoned for peacefully praying outside abortion clinics. The FBI spied on traditional Catholics in their parishes. President Biden declared Easter Sunday to be Transgender Day of Visibility. No longer. Vandalism against churches was 8 times higher in 2023 than it was in 2018. And it's at President Trump's directive, we ended those abuses at the Department of Justice on day one. We dropped 3 ongoing cases against pro-lifers and redefined the FACE Act to ensure that abuse would not continue and that American tax dollars were not used to support the weaponization of our legal system. Thank you all for...
Long overdue. She also says a few weeks ago we convicted a man in Arizona for a plot to bomb a Christian church. Did you hear about that?
Churches.
I mean, the mainstream media is not reporting on that one, right?
A few weeks ago, we convicted a man in Arizona for a plot to bomb Christian churches. The Department of Justice will protect religious liberty for Christians and for all Americans. We'll work closely with everyone around this table and take a whole of government approach to solving this problem and ultimately protect Americans' First Amendment rights. The First Amendment isn't just a line in the Constitution, it's the cornerstone of our American liberty. It guarantees every citizen the right to speak freely, worship freely, and live according to their conscience without government interference. Protecting Christians from bias is not favoritism, it's upholding the rule of law and fulfilling the constitutional promise. Thank you to President Trump. We have an incredible opportunity, all of us around this table, to protect the rights of all citizens from discrimination based on their religious beliefs. And thank you all for being here based on this executive order. A few weeks ago, we convicted...
But where is the accountability? Dr. Fauci was responsible for the death of millions of people. The fact that he doesn't have his job anymore isn't good enough. We sent payments to dead people. No one has yet been held accountable.
Death of millions of... Yes, people are losing their security clearances, and that's a big deal. Yes, people are losing their government contracts. We don't care about that anymore. Dr. Fauci was responsible for the death of millions of people. The fact that he doesn't have his job anymore isn't good enough. Yeah. USAID has been funding a radical Marxist agenda all over the world. We have been giving out business loans to children. We have been sending Social Security and Medicare payments overseas. We have
to
been
dead people
and to dead people,
150-year-olds.
Yes, and no one has yet been held accountable for any of that. Yes, people are losing their security clearances, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, he needs to go to prison. We got this too. ICE just arrested Harpreet Singh, one of the most wanted fugitives with connection to terrorist activities.
I wanted in India for his Indian citizen, who is one of the most wanted fugitives in the country. Harpreet Singh. I wanted in India for his alleged connections with terrorist activities, including planning more than a dozen grenade attacks on police officials. Singh has been arrested by immigration officials for being in the United States illegally. He was taken into custody by ICE agents last week. Singh entered the U.S. illegally 3 years ago in Arizona. A U.S. Border Patrol agent from Tucson sector arrested him, placed him in removal proceedings, and then released him into the interior of the country. ICE arrested Singh on April 16th in Sacramento, California, and he will remain in their custody pending immigration proceedings. Tricia McLaughlin, the Homeland Security Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs, said the Biden administration not only let a wanted terrorist into our country, but after he was arrested by Border Patrol agents, they released him into the interior of our country. While shocking, it's not surprising given the Biden administration routinely released unvetted terrorists and criminals into American communities, she added. Under President Trump and Secretary Noam's leadership, ICE is unleashed to remove these violent criminals from America's streets and put an end to catch and release. We will hunt down, arrest, and lock up foreign terrorists and criminals who have operated with impunity on American soil, McLaughlin further said. Singh is wanted in India over his alleged links to Babar Khalsa International.
That's the guy who Joe Biden decided he was going to just let roam free in this country. Disgraceful. The Trump administration is unwinding these networks of gang criminals with sustained effort, unlike Maryland, where politicians stand up to protect MS-13 gang members.
To go find.
Thank you for telling us. Did you want to share one more
Martha,
thing here?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I was just going to say that's exactly how this is working, which is we use this extended period of unwinding these networks to go find the next group of these illegal violent criminals. And that's allowing us to collect more than 500 going forward. The sustained effort is what's important. It's not a one and done. It is a long-term effort in order to make sure that we unwind this gang activity. And I think it's incredibly important to compare what's going on in Virginia to what's going on in other states like in Maryland, where you actually see a senator and governor stand up for someone who, in fact, was a member and is a member of a gang, as found by multiple judges, and they're standing up to protect that person. Listen, we're going to work in Virginia to make sure these folks are arrested.
Well, hopefully it makes your state.
Senators Johnson and Grassley revealed the Biden White House was directly involved with trying to help start Jack Smith's investigation against Trump. No shocker there. Let's listen to John Solomon on Just the News.
What does it say? It's turn to our next guest in a second, but a little breaking news. Senator Johnson and Senator Grassley just sent this to me a little bit ago while we're on air. It's a major development. You're taking a look at a letter right there that was just sent to the FBI Director Kash Patel and the Attorney General Pam Bondi. What does it say? It says that Congress has obtained evidence that shows that the Biden White House was directly involved in trying to help start Jack Smith's investigation on the January 6th probe against President Trump. Specifically, that the White House counsel's office secretly obtained President Trump's and Vice President Mike Pence's former phones and giving them to the prosecutors, basically sicking the Justice Department on his future competitor, his future rival in the 2024 election, so that they could look for dirt for possible crimes. There's a lot more coming in. There's a lot of other evidence as well of the White House involvement. Remember, 2 years ago, we were the first news agency, right here, Real America's Voice, Just the News, to report that a White House counsel was directly involved with this investigation. Now, more details, including getting, can you imagine this? You're the Democrat president and you go get the old Republican's phone for your prior president and send it to the Justice Department. That's what Senators Johnson and Grassley were able to confirm tonight. It's in that letter. Keep an eye on justthenews.com. We're going to get you up to speed on.
It's time for total personnel warfare. Dan Bongino. He is the new deputy director at the FBI. Everybody has to go. Anyone in the justice system who sniffed this case, touched it against Trump, must be removed.
It's attorney. That's what we call it. It is time for total personnel warfare. Do you understand that? Everybody has to go. Anyone in the justice system, a United States attorney, an AUSA, an assistant United States attorney, that's what we call them in the system. The intake AUSA, who decides, anyone who sniffed this case, touched this case, tweeted positively about this case, it is the president's full and final discretion to keep you hired in the DOJ. Pam Bondi, soon to be President Trump, soon to be Attorney General, everybody's got to go. It is time for, say it with me, folks, throw it in the chat right now, total personnel warfare. You won't fix a mother thing if you don't fire every single person who looked at this thing and didn't speak out about this abomination. It is time for...
Beyond the FBI, we need to address that the Federal Reserve is not a public government entity. Oh, yeah. Here's your FBI director.
So I think we got to educate people that the Federal Reserve is not a public government entity. It's a private entity owned by the robber barons that started this country, who manipulate the currency to their advantage. And that needs to be tackled. Again, I'm not the economic guru. I just know it's a problem. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the solution is, but it needs to be addressed.
I know what the solution is, Cash. End the Fed. Return to sound money. How about that? I just fixed it for you. But he does have a strategy, as you heard Bongino talking about personnel. Patel saying sweeping personnel changes taken all at once.
Corrupt, weaponized system of personnel is how...
Now, of course, this is before he was the FBI director. You can see him as a real America's Voice contributor. But remember, this is his mindset.
You take on any corrupt apparatus in Washington, D.C., because they are the ones in Washington, D.C., these government gangsters, implementing these corrupt, weaponized system of justice, intelligence, and defense. And what you need is sweeping personnel changes in the leadership structures of the agencies that we've been talking about, Steve, for 10 years now? And we've given example after example. And what you have to do is, in my opinion, is take not one at a time, take them all at once. And with the Senate package that came in last night, and with maybe another even one or two possible more seats, Steve, I think what you do is you move forward all of your personnel packages in unison, because you now have the numbers to support a President Trump agenda. And hopefully Congress, as you said, it's a multifaceted effort. It's not just the executive branch. You got to go in there and be working with Congress, the Senate, and the House to implement constitutional oversight so they can expose the corruption of the agencies and departments that they've been overseeing. They need to release those documents. And if you want to put it in Truth and Transparency Office, that's fine. It was one of our recommendations in Government Gangsters. But the DOJ and FBI need to be reporting back to the committees of jurisdiction, where the Republicans need strong chairmen and women to go out there and say, not only are these subpoenas valid and effective immediately, you will return them. Otherwise, we will utilize the Constitution to service the American people's desire to have constitutional oversight of these committees. It has to be a multi-part effort. And we haven't even gotten to the judiciary, but I'll leave that for Mike Davis. But this is how we won Russiagate. We not only used Congress, we used the White House. We used the power of educating the American public with the corruption authors' own documents from FBI and DOJ. And it can be done. Steve, just think about that. We did that at one place, in the FBI, mainly, and a little bit of DOJ. Just think about what you can do if you do it all at once at DOD, at the CIA, at the NSA, at the DOJ, at the FBI, at Treasury, at State, and the list goes on. This is what the American people voted for in Donald Trump. His overwhelming mandate was adhered to by the president, and by the American public. And that's what I think, in my opinion, is the way forward, a collective effort.
Walk me through. Go back. I want to walk through.
So the mission is clear. Purge the corrupt actors, restore constitutional oversight, rebuild the agencies that serve the people. Patel and Bondi have made promises. Now we need results and arrests. No more targeting Christians while real terrorists walk free. So what we just covered about the FBI's transformation isn't about changing leadership. It's about dismantling a weapon that was pointed at the American people for far too long. FBI Director Kash Patel, AG Pam Bondi are making promises, but the deep state operatives embedded throughout the Justice Department won't go quietly. The question every American should be asking is, yes, where is the Epstein client list? But can this purge happen fast enough to prevent another politically motivated prosecution? The Anti-Christian Bias Task Force represents just one facet of a much larger problem, a justice system that's been thoroughly compromised by political actors. So consider this. If they're willing to target peaceful pro-lifers while ignoring anti-Christian violence, what other abuses remain hidden? And what about the Harpit Singh case? How many more potential terrorists were released into the American interior by Biden's DHS? The threat remains active. And you can support us now by visiting the link in the description, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, and grab some merch.